BoogeyMan band coming round the bend. Is BoogeyMan band. Is BoogeyMan band.
Greetings, my fellow fright fiends, and thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. I just started to think about something I wanted to talk about that goes back on my history of discovering this town, and also how, as even a little kid, I was fascinated by just everything to do with Salem's Lot, and that it became a fascination of mine at a very early age. Now, I first saw the film, I was 5.5 years old, and I only saw, as you've watched, people have known that have watched my videos, I saw part 2 of the miniseries, which aired on the 24th of November in 1979. So for years, I didn't see the full miniseries. In fact, the first time I saw the full miniseries, I was 11 years old. And it was when TV 44 in the San Francisco Bay Area re-aired it over 2 nights. It was a Thursday and a Friday, I believe, in November of 1985. And my father recorded it for me. And I remember I had a basketball game. I played basketball when I was from age 11 to age 14. So from 6th grade through 8th grade. I played basketball and wasn't very good at it. I was a forward. But I remember the night that part 1 aired, I was actually, I had a basketball game that night, and I remember missing the beginning of it. Missing the beginning of the miniseries and catching it right where Cully and Mike have their exchange in the cemetery. But anyway, that's where I picked it up. Prior to that, I didn't see part 1 of the miniseries, so all of this was fresh to me. I had never seen some of these scenes, and you know, I was used to Salem's Lot the movie, and that scene wasn't even in that cut of the film, which was very short. And after that, I never watched Salem's Lot the movie again. I carried that tape around like it was gold because my dad gave it to me. So I had that movie really just, I knew, you know, just all of the different angles, all the different streets. They were, you know, burned into my brain because when you're a kid, you just absorb everything. And I talked about it. If you guys watched My Life in the Lot, I talk about it. Summer of 1988, right before I started high school, my Uncle Erlen and my mom and my grandparents and my cousin Jason, we all came up here to Eureka. I don't know what the reasoning was. It was like, I think it was just a small trip, little weekend trip. Went up to the Redwoods. We stayed in downtown Eureka. I remember going to it was called the Cookhouse or the Smokehouse with my grandfather and my uncle and my cousin. And, you know, did some sightseeing and things like that. And as we were heading back to the Bay Area, my mom saw a sign as we got onto 101 to go home that said Victorian Village, Ferndale. And we came into town. And, you know, I didn't care. You know, I was just, you know, again, you know, I was about to start high school. I had just finished being in a play. I was in Joseph and the Amazing Dreamcoat. I played Jacob, and that had been the month earlier in July. But I just remember as we got into town, as we crossed the intersection between Main Street and Ocean Avenue, I remember looking out the window and picking up all of these. We were on Francis Street at this point, and I just remember noticing things that looked very familiar. Again, I'd watched Salem's Lot so many times. And I remember going, I've seen this town before. This looks like Salem's Lot. I still remember saying that. And my mom just said, no, they shot that in Maine. That wasn't shot here. This is California. And it just stayed with me because, you know, I noticed the houses as we were driving into town, but then like I said, we got into the main part of Ferndale, and it's a very small town, but I just knew those buildings. I knew the street, the way that the street angled. And I remember if you come down Francis, you have to turn around because there's a park down at the end of the street, and it kind of dead ends, and you have to turn around and come back. And when we came back, it looked even more familiar. And for years, I didn't realize that I was actually right. We were in Salem's Lot. And it wasn't until I bought this back in 1997. I bought this at WonderCon in Oakland. I remember opening it up, and it's still one of my favorite Salem's Lot things that I have. And I don't take it out very much, but this is the magazine, and there's a nice write-up about it. There's actually some really cool images in this as well. And I talk about this again in my video on my life in the lot. And it was right here where it says, production designer Mort Rabinowitz built this replica of Marston House on location in Ferndale, California. It's right here. And there's the image of the Marston House right there. But yeah, I remember seeing that and my mind was blown. I was 23 when I bought this magazine, and I had been looking for it for a long time because I saw a picture of it. And so every time I went to a convention, I was always trying to find it. And again, with regards to my loving Salem's Lot as a kid, before, you know, I even saw the full miniseries, I had my dad rent that movie for me incessantly. My dad's been married several times, and when he was married to my first stepmother, they had recorded it off of cable television. And I would watch it every Saturday morning. And I've said that before, it was Fruity Pebbles and Salem's Lot. So I would always get up in the morning, get my cereal, sit down, watch Salem's Lot on tape, and had so much fun. I remember my stepmom Janie had taped it right after Popeye the movie with Robin Williams. So as soon as Popeye the movie ended, it would, like, the Salem's Lot music would go, you know, if people remember what, like, sometimes tapes would pop when you watched them. I just remember that. It would just pop, and there was the titles and everything, and I just would watch that so much. And I remember one time I was about, I'm gonna say, I think this was summer of 1984, so I was 10. I decided I wanted to build a replica of the Marston House out of plywood that was in my grandparents' backyard. Again, this is a picture that my grandmother took, but I first thought I will build the sign that says Salem's Lot. So I was barely able to do this because I wasn't very good. I wasn't a good carpenter at 10 years old, but I was able to nail a piece, one piece to a flat piece of wood and try to make a sign. And I think I drew it in crayon, so you can't really see that it says Salem's Lot. But this is the picture right here. And my grandmother took this, and as you can see, there's a little truck on the ground. You'll see like figures, like I have a Tasmanian Devil figure and Pink Panther and all kinds of stuff. The truck was supposed to represent Ben's Jeep. And I still remember that, and it was a little blue truck that I had. But yeah, I was trying to build the Marston out. I didn't get very far, but that was my whole intention, and my grandmother decided to take a picture of it, probably because it was hilarious. But I didn't get very far building it, never did. The other thing I would do is I used to draw books. I was never very good as an artist, and I never added words, very many words to the books that I would draw, but I saw exactly what they were supposed to be, which is what you do when you're a kid. You see exactly what the story you're trying to tell, but nobody else can see it. And I'm very embarrassed showing this, but I found this in a box a couple weekends ago when I was just going through and looking for some stuff. I found a lot of cool things, and the more that I find stuff, I will do a video on it because it's kind of cool, because it is a time capsule from my childhood. But as you can see, this says the making of Salem's Lot, and very obscure drawings, but I know exactly what I was trying to tell in this picture. So that's supposed to be Ben, that's supposed to be Barlow, that's Toby Hooper directing it, and that's Mark and the vampires in the root cellar. Now again, it doesn't look like shit. It's terrible. But going through this and looking at some of these pictures, I was dying laughing. So like here, I'll show you one like where I said Mike is a vampire and Ned is a vampire. So you can see it right there. Like these are really, really bad pictures. But yeah, I was having a blast just like looking through this, and again, something from my youth, and I just thought it was kind of fun, and I would talk about it here. Just thought I would share some of the silly stuff that I did as a kid, and it's always funny when you find something that you did when you were little, but I think I was like 8 or 9 when I drew that. So again, didn't have very good artist skills, but I saw what I wanted, and yeah, I'm just wanted to share that with everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed this. Thanks so much again for watching. I hope everyone's doing well. I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy, stay scared as always, and remember, you can do nothing against the master. Peace.
Hey
fellow Fright Fiends, just want to say thank you again for supporting BoogeyMan Ben's Horror Zone. If you're brand new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell notification so you're updated every time I drop a new video. I typically do this once or twice a week with new content. I've been doing this for over 11 years, and the horror genre is a passion of mine, and it really means a lot to me that I can share that passion with all of you guys. Thanks so much again for the support, and I'll talk to you again later. Take it easy, stay scared as always. Peace.